Skeptics of Reddit, what are your paranormal experiences? Story 1. In high school, I worked at kids' birthday parties in a giant gym that also hosted gymnastics and dance classes. One day, a very spiritual and religious coworker was shaken. During her morning gymnastics class, a kid stared at the ceiling. When she asked what he was doing, he said, "There's a little boy up there," pointing at the ceiling. I brushed it off, kids are weird. Later, 2 girls working a party before mine came out of the gym visibly rattled. A pair of 5-year-old twins slid down a slide, looked at the ceiling, and said a little boy was up there, in the same spot the earlier kid mentioned. We all inspected the ceiling. It was just a plain, gray warehouse ceiling. We were freaked out. During my party, pushing a kid on the giant swing, he looked up and said to my face, "Hey, there's a little boy up there." We told our coworkers and managers about 3 separate kids from different groups seeing the same thing. The next day, during downtime with no one in the gym, my manager called us from the break room to check the lobby monitor, which streams the gym's cameras for parents. The screen showed the giant swing moving back and forth, empty. I like to think it was a little boy's ghost who just wanted to play and finally got his turn. Could have been worse. I'm still not sure I believe, but some things in my life remain unexplained. Story 2. At 5 years old, I woke up at night to see my grandma at the foot of my bed, wearing a teal skirt and matching blouse. It was summer, the sky still light but too dim to read, around 9 p.m. I sat up. She put a finger to her lips. I rubbed my eyes, sleepy, and when I looked again, she was gone. I curled up under my sheets, happy to see her since I hadn't in years, hoping she'd be there in the morning. The next day, the house was eerily quiet. My mom was crying worse than usual. When I asked what was wrong, she said my grandma died the previous night. She'd been crossing a street after bingo at 8:30 p.m., 60 miles away, and had a massive brain hemorrhage, collapsing mid-crossing. She was wearing a teal skirt and blouse. Story 3. My wife and I swore our daughter talked to ghosts as a toddler. She was an only child then. The first time, she said she was talking to Nana, my grandma, who died 15 years before she was born. I'd never mentioned Nana to her. I showed her a photo with 4 women, 3 strangers, and she pointed to Nana without hesitation. Months later, as we tried for a second child, my wife got pregnant. Our daughter put her head on my wife's belly and said, "Mommy, there's a baby in there." We thought she overheard us, but after a miscarriage, she put her head on the belly again and said, "Mommy, no more baby." After another early miscarriage, she said, "I talked to my brother last night, and he said my sister's coming to live with me soon." She had no brother. We weren't even testing yet, but that night we took a pregnancy test, positive. When it came time for the gender reveal, I wasn't curious. She'd already said it was a girl. Sure enough, I have 2 daughters now. Story 4. In college, I saw my therapist twice a week for 5 months. One session, he was oddly quiet. I asked if he was okay. He said yes, and we had a breakthrough session, uncovering repressed memories that helped me heal. At the end, I asked why he seemed different. He said when I walked in, a warrior-like figure accompanied me, urging him to perform at his best, as if this warrior had fought battles to protect me. 10 years later, living across the world, My Puerto Rican neighbor, whom I'd grown close to, got quiet while walking. In broken English, he said, "You know there's a soldier following you." Both described the same figure, over 6 feet, curly blonde hair, dressed in primitive warrior clothes, oddly a white guy. Neither could have known my closest brother, who died at 14, was over 6 feet with curly blonde hair and always protected me. Story 5. At 8, 2 months after my grandma died, I was at her house where my grandpa lived. I woke at 3 a.m. to footsteps from the bedroom door. I went to check and froze. My grandma walked toward me, said, "Hi, sweetie," and vanished. It wasn't sleep paralysis. I could move my hands and feet. I told my grandpa in the morning, and he said, "I see Grandma almost every night. She likes to visit, so don't be scared next time." Story 6. My girlfriend's grandpa's ashes were on a living room shelf next to a heavy angel statue. One weekend, we were fooling around on the couch when, out of the corner of my eye, I saw the statue fly off the wall with a deep growl, traveling 7 to 8 feet before denting the hardwood floor with its wing. Even if it had fallen, it wouldn't have shot out like that. We both froze, and I whispered if she heard the growl. She nodded. We stayed quiet the rest of the day. At dinner, we told her parents, omitting the naughty part, and her younger sister cried, saying she'd seen a dark figure at the foot of her bed for nights, but stayed silent to avoid seeming crazy. Their grandpa had mental health issues that caused a lot of pain. Story 7. From ages 10 to 14, I had terrible insomnia, felt watched, and imagined things, though I never admitted it. I slept on the couch, back against the wall, with the TV or a light on, missing school often. My mom took me to a neurologist who diagnosed some issues. During a sleep study, I slept perfectly in a real bed, which was odd. At a children's hospital, I told the doctor I saw things and felt uneasy. They thought it was sleep paralysis. My mom went pale, pulled me aside, and said she was experiencing similar things, describing exactly what I saw. She asked my brother vague questions like, "Anything weird at home?" He described the same experiences. I realized our house must have paranormal activity. When we moved, my sleep issues stopped abruptly and haven't returned. I still don't believe in ghosts, but I can't explain it. Story 8. Years ago, I found a cat in a ditch. She was sweet, followed me a mile home along train tracks, and became mine forever. Unlike other pets, she was clingy, always near me, even violating my personal space. She purred me to sleep nightly. She died quickly from hyperthyroidism, which led to tumors in her stomach and liver. I had to put her down to end her suffering, a heartbreaking decision. I buried her in the garden to keep her close. That night, grieving, I lay in my old house with a sliding plastic door to my bedroom. I heard the telltale click of its slats, like when she pushed through, then felt my mattress dip at my feet, moving up my legs to my hips, just as she used to. I looked, no cat. I don't believe in ghosts, and grief can mess with your mind, but the mattress deforming so exactly like her movements felt real. I don't know what to think.